Vito Genovese was born on November 21, 1897, in the town of Tufino in Naples, Italy. He and his siblings were raised in the subdivision of Risigliano. He was 15 years old when his father, and his mother, prepared for their immigration to America. Arriving in New York City aboard the SS Taormina in 1913, the family moved into an apartment in Little Italy. With a 5th grade reading level and scarce supervision, Genovese spent his days on petty thefts and debt collections for mobsters. He was first arrested at 19 and served 1 year in prison for possessing a firearm. When Genovese met Charles Luciano around the neighborhood, he rapidly became his right-hand man. The fledgling mobster made Genovese his most reliable hitman and enforcer. Genovese garnered an impressive reputation in the criminal underworld, and rose in the ranks as Luciano amassed more power. While his career in the Mafia had already begun, Vito Genovese was officially inducted into organized crime during the Prohibition era of the 1920s. Hired by Giuseppe Masseria, he and Luciano became his top lieutenants. While Genovese didn't know it yet, he was now working for the crime family that he would later lead, and rename after himself. Meanwhile, Luciano began bootlegging for gambler Arnold Rothstein and decided to start his own smuggling operation with Genovese and Frank Costello. In 1930, Genovese was charged with counterfeiting as police found $1 million in fake currency in his Brooklyn warehouse. Things dramatically escalated within a month. Masseria was enraged to learn that Bronx-based mobster Tommy Rayner had conspired with his longtime rival Salvatore Maranzano. Masseria had Genovese murder Rayner with a shotgun on February 26, 1930. While he was now in control of the Rayner gang, Masseria had also sparked a bloody 14-month war. When Maranzano approached Luciano to kill Joe Masseria, Luciano swore his allegiance to him and agreed to the hit on the condition that he be awarded control of Masseria's rackets. So Luciano lured Masseria to the restaurant on April 15, 1931. Luciano excused himself for the restroom as Genovese, Albert Anastasia, Benjamin Ziegel, and Joe Adonis shot Masseria to death. Little did Maranzano know, Luciano had lied, and he was next on Luciano's hit list. But Maranzano was suspicious, so he summoned Genovese, Luciano, and Costello to his office on September 10, 1931, under the guise of a business meeting. However, the trio had gotten wind of the fact that they were about to be killed. So instead, they got the drop on Maranzano by deploying men to his office and murdering him. In control of all organized crime in New York, Luciano devised a governing body known as the Commission, and created the 5 families of the American Mafia, with his newly christened Luciano family as the largest. And as lucky Luciano's newfound status, Vito Genovese was so untouchable that he killed a man named Gerard Venotico, simply because he wanted to marry his wife. In 1934, Genovese and a fellow mobster cheated a gambler out of $150,000. When the fellow mobster demanded a larger share than agreed upon, Genovese murdered him at a coffee shop on September 19. Then, when Luciano was convicted for prostitution rackets in 1936, Vito Genovese became the acting boss. Vito Genovese's time as boss of the Luciano crime family was brief, however. Because he was determined to avoid an indictment for murder, he fled to Italy in 1937, naming Frank Costello acting boss in his place. In Italy, Genovese mingled with local dons, extorted the local rackets, and even befriended Benito Mussolini. In 1943, he ordered the murder of journalist Carlo Tresca for his anti-government coverage. While Genovese appeared to help the Allied war effort when they invaded Italy, he was also arrested by the US military police for establishing black market operations that robbed the army of resources in 1944. When it was discovered that he was wanted for murder in the US, he was extradited on June 1, 1945. With a not guilty plea and 2 prosecutorial witnesses found dead, Genovese was not only free to leave but now back in New York. His former partners were hesitant to relinquish their positions, however. In 1957, he failed to kill Costello, Luciano's acting boss, but pushed him to retire. He then had Anastasia murdered. As the newfound leader of the gang, he renamed it the Genovese family. Then, Vito Genovese convened a conference on November 14 in Appalachian, New York, that later became known simply as the Appalachian Meeting. Raided by police, mobsters from all corners of the country were arrested or successfully fled. Genovese was let go by simply claiming he was there for a barbecue. In the end, Vito Genovese continued to run his business from behind bars. From ordering murders of competing mobsters to those he deemed informants, Genovese stayed in charge until he died of a heart attack on February 14, 1969, while still incarcerated at the U.S. Medical Center for Federal Prisons in Springfield, Missouri.